Welcome to the pod, Aimee. Thank you so much for joining us. It's great to have you on, and also really, really great to see you. It's been a while. I was trying to work out when the last time it was that we saw each other, and I think it must have been, it must have been over about half a year ago, I reckon.
Yeah, I mean, thanks for having me down. Yeah, I've seen you floating about the academy now and again, but you tend to avoid me. So, yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen you, but it's nice to have a little catch up.
Oh, I wasn't avoiding you. I just had very important business to get on with. But yeah, no, it's been nice actually coming down to the training ground, sort of seeing the girls every now and again, and sort of just catching up and finding out where you're all up to. Every time I go down, it feels like Palace have made another significant step in an amazing direction. So yeah, it's quite nice to like catch up at this point. Now you are fully fledged WSLers. Obviously, we're a quarter of the way through now, the WSL season, which is mad. It feels like it's only just started. I mean, it's already felt like quite a sort of big journey since the opening weekend, especially for you guys having just joined the WSL this year. We should say that we're recording this before your trip to Man City on Sunday. But how have things been so far? I mean, how do you even sort of summarise what's been going on in the last sort of half a year for Palace and the team?
Yeah, I mean, when me and you were playing here together, I mean, you see the growth every year. It's taken huge leaps each year, and it's so pleasing to see. But yeah, I think obviously you had a tough start to the season. But yeah, I think we're growing each game, and we obviously had pre-season and then start of the season, and I just think we've kind of just developed each game and got closer together as a group and just keep improving.
Let's just touch a little bit briefly on the pre-season, because I mean, I was absolutely gutted when I saw the announcement that you guys were heading out to the USA on your pre-season tour to Utah. I was like, maybe I left a year too early, but yeah, quickly sort of what was that like going out to the US with Palace on your first international tour abroad?
Yeah, I mean, what an experience. I think it was a bit too hot for me out there. I had my factor 50 on, definitely. But
Nice.
yeah, I mean, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity, and we're so grateful to have the backing from the club and the owners, and to be able to make that happen. And I think playing against a different team in the NWSL, and not obviously many of us have been and had that experience, so that was fantastic to have.
And did you get a chance to sort of see much of the US, to see much of Utah in between the sort of, you're only there for a week, wasn't it? It was quite a quick turnaround.
Yeah, it was a week, but yeah, we kind of got about, had a mooch about, plenty of coffees. Obviously, I couldn't handle any sunbathing, so that wasn't happening for me. But yeah, their facilities were unbelievable. I mean, the views, you're in like a nice mountainous area, so that was nice. It was nice, like being back home in the Licks.
Oh, I love that. Okay, let's get stuck into the season. Obviously, you know, it's always a bit of a scary moment going up into the WSL for the first time. I know life to the WSL wasn't great for you guys initially with the 4-0 defeat against Spurs and the 7-0 defeat against Chelsea. But, you know, since then, it feels like you've really found consistency and form. And, you know, how have you managed that? You're the captain now. You're at the front of the ship. How have you kind of steered the team to kind of, sort of clearer waters?
I mean, I can't take any credit. We've obviously got a fantastic group, and I think we were quite late coming together towards the end of pre-season. So I think naturally it does take you a few games to get going and kind of grow together. And yeah, the Tottenham, the Chelsea result was very disappointing personally, and as a group we were all disappointed with that. And we more just because we know we can do better. And I think from there we took a real turning point, and it was just about improving game after game, and eventually the results did come.
And how do you kind of bounce back from games? Because there's obviously, like, you guys are now under the management of Laura Kaminsky, who I kind of know from my Spurs days, and she's she's an absolute like incredible human. Like, her sense of humour is second to none. But in terms of, I remember there being a sort of interview that she did sort of post match. I think it was your first win of the season, and she said, you know, don't go too high with the highs and don't go too low with the lows. Is that something that you sort of you collectively, the approach that you take, I suppose, to life in the WSL at the moment?
No, yeah, I think Laura's management of her emotions are fantastic, and that kind of was instilled last year. And I think that kind of don't get too high and don't get too low was not just this season, and we experienced that last season, obviously going for a completely different outcome. So yeah, it's kind of just built in the culture from her and part of the club now, and I think it's just important you don't look too far ahead and you just go week by week.
Love that. Such a mature head on you, Ames.
I know, I've grown up.
Well, I just can't.
You
It's
don't even
just
recognise
wild.
me.
Honestly, you're sat there in a cardigan in a lovely living room setting.
Yeah, I've upped my style now.
Love that. I mean, obviously, I think, you are incredibly young as a player, but you also come with an absolute wealth of experience. I mean, you were part of the Leicester City side that won the championship back in 2021, but didn't make the step up to the WSL at that time. But I mean, in the last 3 years, I suppose, do you feel that there's anything in particular that you've seen really change in the WSL?
Yeah, I'd say my time at Leicester was a very different experience. Yes, we won the league and I've won it at Palace, but both different positions I was in and different experiences, and I think they both helped me build to be the person I am now. And yeah, I think going into the Super League my first season, I would say the one thing is it's ruthless. You can't get away with much. You're playing against obviously world-class players and they will punish you within a split second. So I think that's the biggest step I'd say I've definitely noticed.
Would you say it's sort of time on the ball? I feel like the intensity of the WSL is that, like you said, you have the ball, but you've got to make those split-second decisions even quicker than you did in the Championship.
Oh yeah, definitely. The intensity is huge, and that's no disrespect to the Championship, because I think that's also a fantastic league in itself. They both offer different things, and that again is improving. And you could see that last year, and you can see that again this year. But yeah, I think when Ramirez is running at you for Chelsea, you've got to move that ball pretty quick.
I can imagine. What's it like seeing a player like that come towards you at pace?
Quite scary, but no, I think it's fantastic for me. Again, being so young, getting to play against those players, I think is only going to improve me even more. And you're going to get it wrong at times, and that's just part of learning and developing.
Definitely. And I think, I mean, what's been really, really lovely to see, I suppose, in the last month of games with Palace is that, you haven't had to wait that long for your first 3 points. Obviously, settling the nerves, and then you kind of go into the Leicester City game, you get that win. And I saw the pictures and the videos and the kind of celebrations, and it kind of almost looked like a moment that you'd won the league again. I could tell how much it kind of meant to the squad. I mean, what was it like getting that first win under your belt as WSLers?
No, yeah, I mean, obviously you got to celebrate the good moments. So yeah, it was fantastic. It was kind of like a breath of fresh air and a bit of a relief, to be honest, because I think although the results hadn't come for us, I think our performances were getting there, and it was a matter of time before we were going to pick up 3 points. So yeah, I think the girls all played excellent in that game, and it was a huge squad performance, not just the 11 that were on the pitch.
Definitely. I think, one of the standout players for us was definitely Annabelle Blanchard. Scored 2 goals that day. I remember playing with Blanchard and then doing the social media with Blanchard, and she used to drive me absolutely nuts with some of the stuff that she used to do. But you could see even in then, and don't tell her I said this, an incredibly talented person, a natural talent. I mean, you two used to compete for the same number 9 shirt back in the youth age groups with England. Do you think it's best that she kind of stayed in that attacking role? I'd probably say yes, given what's happening.
Yeah, I mean, I've known Annabelle years, but yeah, she's exactly the same as when she was with you, and she still causes headaches to a lot of people, I'm sure. But yeah, I think a fantastic natural talent, like you said, and yeah, I think it's best that she scores the goals and I keep them out now. I think it's best that way around. But I mean, I do fancy myself in small-sided these days, but that's about it.
Any chance of you kind of going up, getting like a last-minute header, sort of that kind of vibe?
I mean, I scored 2 last year, so you never know.
I mean, the only way it's up, I suppose, from 2, I mean, it's not that big a jump just to kind of almost double that and get 4. So, no pressure, Ames. But I mean, if you want to lead from the front, you've got to put your money where your mouth is and improve season on season around all the stats. So, expecting 4 or 5 goals.
4 it is, or you're coming for me.
And in terms of that first win against Leicester, I mean, was there anything around the kind of feeling that it was your former club? Was there kind of any, did you see some of the old players there? Was there anything you kind of felt a little bit sorry about, that being your first win against them?
To be honest, I didn't really think about it too much. It's obviously weird playing against your club, but I think from when I was there, that again, it's another club that's improved every year and took on leaps and bounds, and I think it kind of doesn't look the same as it was then. So I think all those emotions towards it were just kind of not there. So yeah, I was just happy to play another game and get 3 points.
And did Laura Kaminsky give you any time off to celebrate? An additional day off, maybe, just to kind of take that time and reflect on what a historic thing that you'd done in that initial win, or was it straight back to business?
No, straight back to business with her. Yeah, you don't get much time off with her, but no, I think that's the best way to be. Is just like she said, don't get too high, and we were back in and focusing on a new week.
Well, I'll have a word with her and see if I can try and sort something out for the next win. Yeah, bear with me. Just moving back on to kind of like what you were saying then about, Annabelle Blanchard and the positions that you guys used to play. I mean, did you always want to move back into defence from midfield, or was it kind of a decision that you made for the needs of the team?
To be honest, I think I just got a bit slower and I didn't have it in me anymore. No, I don't even know how it came across. I think just one game I got through in midfield and then picked up, and then through like the England youth setup I started to play more of a holding mid role, and then came to Palace and played that same role, and then gradually just got further and further back. So might be a goalie next, you can be my coach, who knows.
I mean, I'd love to come back. Yeah, I mean, I've seen the performances that Shea Yanez has been pulling off, and I don't particularly think I can provide much help. She's been absolutely incredible for the squad. So
no,
I think
she has done it very, very well. Yeah, made off some great saves.
I stepped away from things at a time that was definitely the right time for me. I mean, we had Emily Orman in as well, and for anyone who's sort of unfamiliar with Emily Orman, she was about 6'7". I think she had the handspan of an eagle, and I think she was about size 12 feet. So had been playing at Chelsea since she was about 3 or 4 years old. So at that point, I think I knew my days were very much numbered. But moving back to you, Ames, you mentioned there sort of, your kind of involvement around the England youth setup. I mean, how was that experience, and is there any potential for you having your eyes on the Lionesses at any point in the future?
Yeah, I mean, it's always an honour to have them experiences as a kid, and again meet so many different people and go through them years and playing for your country is a very special moment. But yeah, I think anyone who plays football would be daft if that wasn't their goal to reach that top level. But yeah, we'll see. I just want to focus on this year now and just put out the best performances I can, and you just never know in the future.
So no kind of sliding into Serena's DMs at the moment. I mean, defensively, they've not had the best run of form in the last couple of days, so there could be, some positions opening up there. Ames, definitely.
Yeah, maybe you can give her a call for me.
I will get on the phone straight after this. I am bezzers with Serena for sure. I mean, moving away from sort of the football and the playing side of things, obviously, being captain is a really demanding role. Being your first time in the WSL, obviously super intense pressure-wise. Do you actually watch a lot of football in your spare time, or do you kind of want to move away from it, as to switch off and just get away from football when you have a moment?
To be honest, I feel like you get asked this a lot, is anyone you watch, and to be honest, I actually don't really watch football that much.
Okay.
I normally get stuck watching Spurs because that's what the missus, her team that she supports, so it's not really the best team to watch. But
how did that go down in your household with the 4-0 win, Spurs Palace? Who was she supporting?
She had to support me, she didn't have a choice. Yeah, but I kind of watch it when I can.
And is there anyone you sort of learned from this season? Any sort of players that you've had about 10 or 11 players come into the Crystal Palace squad? I suppose in terms of the analysis that you do now, sort of watching players across the WSL, is there anyone that you sort of look to, someone to sort of, emulate sort of like some of the things that you'd like to develop in your own sort of playing style?
Yeah, I think obviously as a centre-half, I think this league obviously produces a very high quality of centre-halves, and obviously fantastic to watch. I think within our squad, we've obviously got a lot of experience now and kind of learning from the players in and around me that I see every day. We've obviously got Kat, we've got Katie Stengel, obviously been and played across the world, and it's nice to play alongside them and learn little bits.
Love that. It must have been quite a sort of big transition, I suppose, having that many players kind of join the squad. How has it kind of been for you, kind of meshing the players who've been at Palace for a number of seasons with the sort of the new players that kind of joined?
No, yeah, I think obviously that's part of football, and it tends to happen at a lot of clubs, especially ones that are trying to grow. As brutal as it is, and obviously I had some fantastic memories last season with that squad, and ones that you'd cherish forever. But yeah, I think the new players come in and again, all different characters, different cultures and different experiences. And I think they've just slotted in nicely with all the girls that were still here, and everyone's starting to gel together.
And as part of the captaincy role, I'm assuming some of the responsibility to kind of gel the team together rests on your shoulders. I mean, have there been any incredible away days that you've organised? Any kind of, canoeing or whitewater rafting or anything like that to get the team kind of bonded?
To be honest, we haven't actually done that much. There's probably something lined up in the future. I think just because we were quite late getting together, it was obviously quite difficult. It's a busy season and everyone was kind of focused on playing and getting started. But yeah, we'll see what the future brings.
What would you do as your team building day? Like, what would be your activity to get everyone together?
I quite like the little, like the water obstacle courses. We did one last year and it was at Lakeside in a dirty lake, but it was it was so much fun and everyone got stuck in and it was just a big laugh, yeah.
Love that. And what would you say your captaincy style is like? If you had to describe yourself as a captain, as a leader of Palace, what would you say your style is?
I feel like everyone thinks of like a captain as like the most vocal and always moaning and shouting, but I feel like I kind of chose to be that for a reason, and that's for like being who I am and trying not to put too much pressure on being someone I'm not, and just being me. And I think more just leading by example, I'd say is me.
And obviously, I mean, you're only one of two captains under 30 in the entire WSL. How does it kind of feel being one of the youngest, I suppose, in the league? Do you feel like there's additional pressure because you're so young, or do you actually feel like you have the experience already? You've worked with the squad a number of years.
I feel like pressure's come with the game, and that's something that can be difficult to manage. But I think we've got a great support network around us, with players and with the club. And I think, I might wear the armband, but I think there's a lot of characters in that dressing room. Like you've got Josie Green, highly experienced, and I think those players kind of help you lead and kind of lead themselves as well.
And what would you say you've learned the most out of the former captain, AJ, who was, she captained the club through quite a massive period, going from the National League Championship and then sort of increasing the sort of positioning in the Championship as well. I mean, I absolutely loved AJ as a captain. I thought she was absolutely incredible. But what would you say is kind of the things that the key takeaways from AJ's reign at the club? Yeah,
I mean, I'm a fantastic captain and I was very proud to play under it and alongside and you obviously experienced that too. But yeah, I think things I've learned from her, we obviously had plenty of chats last season and she was kind of a little tutor.
A captain tutor.
Yeah, I think one thing AJ was exceptionally good at was when something needed saying, she would be there to say it. And I think managing her emotions was so key. And I think you always felt like she had your back. And I think that's so important that as a group of players, you have each other's backs and you're very together.
And who's your vice captain? Who's the second in command at Palace now?
Well, it's Josie Green. I have a joke that she's like my mum because she doesn't stop saying Aimee. But yeah, she's fantastic and I get to play alongside her every week. And again, another person that I'm learning lots of.
No, she's incredible. I think, she's one of my good mates, and she's been feeding me in on some of the stuff that's going on. So I'm keeping a very close eye on you from afar. You signed your new contract in the summer with Palace. You said you'd really found a home with the club. What is it about Palace that kind of makes you feel that kind of connectedness with the club and the players?
I think it's just the club as a whole. Like, it's not just Palace women and Palace men. I think we are a very together club, and you could see that this year. Obviously, I don't know if you've seen the big group photo that we got, and it was just like a natural thing. And obviously, being in and around the academy, everyone's just lovely. And I just think, obviously, this is my 4th season now, and I think each year seeing the improvements that the club has made is fantastic, and it's something that you'd be stupid not to be a part of.
And in terms of, I've seen sort of recently, or definitely in the last sort of season, the number of games at Selhurst Park has increased. I mean, what is it like now? I mean, I think when I was there, I think there was I think it was 1,900, I think was the record attendance. And now I'm seeing you guys kind of sell, 5,000-6,000 tickets for Selhurst Park. What is it like for you guys going from sort of, playing in front of sort of the women's championship crowds where sometimes there might only be a few hundred people there, to then going into, some of those bigger games, especially against the likes of Spurs and Chelsea, and sort of playing week in, week out, with 3, 4, 5,000 people watching you? What's that like for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, we obviously experienced it a little bit, me and you, and I think again you can see that growth over the years with the fans, and I think we've got some of the best fans. And yeah, we've had great experiences at both Sutton, both Selhurst, but I think it's amazing. I think that's the reason you play. They're the stages you want to play on in front of that many fans. And yeah, playing in the Super League, obviously Chelsea, Arsenal have a fantastic fan support. So yeah, I mean, it's a great experience.
And in terms of sort of like looking ahead to the future, you've got some big games coming up. What does the future at Palace look like for you guys? Like, what is it that the club want to achieve, and what is it that you want to get out of the league as well this year as your first time in there?
Yeah, I think obviously the goal is to stay up, obviously being newly promoted. But I think, yeah, like I've said previously, it's just taking it step by step. Got Man City this weekend, another opportunity. But yeah, each week we just have to see as an opportunity to pick up points and put on a performance and just keep performing each week. And then where we're at the end of the season is where we're at, and it's where we'd probably deserve.
And what are you looking to improve on personally this season? Is there any sort of personal goals that you want to work on?
I think I'm just obviously still developing and just trying to learn as much as I can off Laura and the coaching staff and off the players around me, and just keep progressing week by week and just improving my own performances to help the team.
And then finally, Ames, really, really important question. Can I come to the end of season drinks?
Yeah, if you're paying.
All right, fine.
Bring your bank card.
I'll expense it, it'll be fine.